Hey everybody, welcome back to PlumFiggy Plans. This is Tammy. Alright, so my last journal is done. June was the last month I could get in it, and so it's time for a new bullet journal. I decided I'm gonna stretch myself a little bit, and I'm gonna use this one, which has pastel pages, so pink and yellow and purple pages, and then craft and some watercolor. So I don't know what I'm getting myself into maybe, but I thought I would quickly just walk you through kind of what I'm going to use, for my full bullet journal setup, and then I'm going to do the month of July in that same theme. So as you can see, we've got a few things around the bullet journal here. So since the first pages are this very pale yellow, I've been doing some ink testing to kind of see what pens and highlighters and things might look good. And yeah, so I'll be cutting this down because I'm going to make this into a pocket page. So I'll use this just maybe in that pocket as a reminder of what colors looked like that I tested. I recently picked these up on clearance at Hobby Lobby, and I'm thinking for this bullet journal I'm going to change from what I've been doing, which is a full week on 2 pages, so a smaller space for each day. I'm going to go ahead and change that to be a page per day. And so I'm kind of thinking this journal will maybe last me through the summer. I don't know how long it'll last me. I haven't done the math. I won't use the watercolor papers as a page per day. I'll just use those as watercolor or to do something with a more wet medium. But as I've planned it out, my bullet journal intro pages and then my intro pages for July, including my trackers and then my monthly review, is going to take me into pink. But anyway, so I thought, well, this is not my style usually that I would use, but it's so fun. I thought, why not go ahead and use this for the intro of these pages. I love the pale yellow with these colors, and yeah, so I'm gonna go for it. So what I've got, the other things that I've got pulled out are, so these will be my main focal points. I was looking for what kind of, to use as collage papers behind this to give some more interest. I just pulled some random scraps of paper. This is a lined paper that's got a faint green color. It's from Scrapbook Pad. This is from another scrapbooking, no, this is from a paper book, and I like the pale pink. Probably won't use that part of it, but figured that would work well. This was from, I guess, a memo pad. It's from a purchase I made on Mercari. They included some free memo papers, and I thought these would work well. I mean, again, I may not use the flowers, or I might. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, just some random scrapbook paper remnants, and then a few actual scrapbook papers that are not too thick. They're the thinner scrapbook paper, and this is kind of a gray. I don't know if I'll use too much of this on the yellow, but we'll find out. So I've got that. Put this off to the side. My thinking here with these are old. I have had them forever. I'm not going to use all of these, but I thought, again, some of them have a little bit of color to them, and the yellow with the blue might work well. So I thought some of these might work well for background and collaging papers. So I'll pull from here. And then for my stamps, I think I'm gonna do my 2025 in this stamp. I liked this stamp to go kind of with this. The fonts kind of work pretty well, so I'll figure out where to put these. Maybe these will be my daily stamps, and then number stamps. This will be for my future log. Oh, maybe I'll use this for my headers and things, because obviously these just say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all that stuff. So figured I'll use these. May switch to these for the number stamps, or just maybe for the calendar. So I'll be using a variety of different stamps. And then, as you saw, and I showed you already, I was doing some pen tests. I didn't do any on pink, purple, or craft, but I'll get to those I'll do that as I get to them, I think. So I was just worried about this. I was testing some different things. This up here are these glitter highlighters, and I liked number 2 and number 1 from this set, 2 and 1, and then 3 and 4 from this set, but these fell out, so these might not be in the same order, so I'll figure that out. But maybe use that. I don't think I'll use these. I just recently got them and I was curious. These are Erin Condren dual tip highlighters in bold blooms colors. So those are that. And then I've got a mixture of jelly rolls. What are these? That's not jelly roll. What are these from? Moonlight jelly rolls. Got a few of those, and then these were the cheap gel pens from Target. They're like $5 front of the store little deals. So I did all these up here, and then these are the ones that I chose to use. So I'm trying to use some different colors and just trying some different things. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how many of these I'll actually use, but I really like this aqua color. It's really cool. But yeah, so I thought, and when I was trying to get some inspiration for this bullet journal, I looked everywhere to find whoever else might have used it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't find any videos or anything. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing it, or maybe I'm not looking right with the right keywords, but hopefully this will be a fun little challenge for me. And either way, I'll share as I go along. So I hope you enjoy my setup of this new bullet journal, and then my July setup, my intro pages for July. All right, I'll go ahead and get started now. Okay, let's get going. So first things first is let's get this page cut in half-ish, I don't know, making the pocket. So need enough to store things in, but want to leave enough left over to have a little bit of fun in the background of it. So obviously, as you saw, I have already used this as a pen test page, and thankfully I can use the back side of that too if I need it in the future, and I'll most likely add this to my pocket once it's all done. But first I wanted to find something to cover that white page, and I thought this kind of grungy-ish, lightly grungy ledger page would work well. It's from a scrapbook pad, like I said, and it does. So just cutting this down to, we're just gonna have it show peeking from behind that pocket, but for whatever reason I'm having a hard time figuring out how I want to really do this, because I did leave a little sliver of that full page there, so I wouldn't, because these signatures in these books are sewn in. If you completely remove one whole page or partial of a page, the counterpart to that in the signature few pages later is going to fall out. So I wanted to leave a sliver of paper in there, but now I have a challenge of how do I cover that up and what do I want to do. So making the pocket, and this is something I've learned from making altered books and junk journals. When you're gluing those pages, it's always best to add your glue or, whatever kind of glue or adhesive that you're using, and then close the book like you would close it when you're done reading. That's the natural way the book is going to fall. And if you don't always do it that way, you might find that your page glue's kind of wonky and not quite straight, or it might have some buckling or something in it. So little tip from me to you. But anyway, it's not so big of a deal if you only have one pocket page or every few pages, or once one or two in your entire journal. But if you're adding a lot of them, that's definitely a little tip that you might want to try out. Okay, so now trying to get my decorations sorted, and of course I want to do all the things. And really this page it's not anything functional really. It's just kind of like introducing the whole journal. And I thought that this peace, love, and happy vibes was kind of perfect, really. Kind of that's the sentiment that I want to have right now in my life. In the summertime, happiness. There's a lot of dark things happening out in the world these days, and I want to try and have a place where I can come where it's not so much all the stress and everything that's going on with life. And so that was kind of my thinking going behind this particular setup. So I thought that was perfect. So now I am just going to build my collage. You might notice that I'm leaving some of the words on the blue paper that I'm cutting or tearing out, and I'm just hiding the words behind my quote there, and it's working pretty well, actually. I was a little worried because the background of that page, I think, has like a quote symbol on it, and I thought, oh, that might kind of distract a little bit, but actually it doesn't. It works out pretty well. So I don't always do my collages this way where I don't glue everything down right away. Sometimes I like to kind of throw caution to the wind and start with my background pieces and just kind of start layering from there, and what comes will come. But I didn't really want to do it like that in this one, just because I don't know, I'm feeling a little not uber confident as much as I usually am. I think because of the yellow paper. I don't know, it was throwing me off just a little bit. I was just in my head a little more than I normally am, I guess. I would say not. I was confident, but just in my head more, thinking through things a little bit more, but also just wanting to keep it simple, but represent the theme that I'm going for. So I think I did that. And so then really the only thing I wanted to add in addition to that on this page is, of course, a little bit more decoration on the left, but to have the year. And then when I'm finished with the journal, I'll add in smaller stamping, or maybe I'll write it out. I don't know, but I'll add the months that I used, or even maybe the dates, depending on how that works out. I did that in my first bullet journal, and I'm really happy with that, because then when I open this up, when it's all done, I'll know exactly what dates it is. And actually, I'm considering putting that time frame on the spine of them when I get finished with them as well. That way, when they're on the bookshelf, I can just quickly and easily scan and look to see which one I want to look at, depending on what I'm looking at it for. So just going to stamp out 2025 here, and I have to stack it because those are such large number stamps. And I showed quickly, I'm not using black ink this time. It's a darker gray ink, and I think it's nice. It's definitely dark enough, but it's not so harsh like the black is. So kind of is just a little bit softer, going along with the theme, right, of the softer pastel colors that I'm using. So, all right, first spread is all done, and let's move on to the next one. This is going to be my future log spread, so it's going to be a pretty simple one, really. I'm going to do a vertical. I'll have 3 months on each page vertically. So I'll have the calendar at the top, and then below the calendar I'll have space to write in whatever it is I need to write in. Decided to go ahead with using that really pretty aqua pen as my divider lines, and then the tedious task of creating the calendars. I do have stamps that I could use for this. However, they don't quite work if I'm stamping them directly onto the dot grid. They're not quite the right size to fit perfectly in the dot grid spaces. So I could easily stamp them on some other paper and just glue that down, which I may do in future journals, because I am not a fan of writing out each of the calendar days for these, but you know what? It's fine. It was only 6 of them this time. At least I didn't do all 12 months. And I did decide to do 6, even though obviously we're starting this bullet journal in July, and so having a future log for July doesn't make sense, especially, I smudged that there. Bummer. Especially when I'll have an entire calendar spread for July, and we're starting with July in the journal, but it's fine. I think what I'm going to do, I don't tend to have a whole lot of future loggy things that I want to capture every time. So I think what I'm going to do instead is, I'll combine it. I'll do a future log entries, and then I'll just kind of also do like a recap for each month. And I might include some stickers of pictures that I take throughout the month or whatever. I have this idea. I do this in the bullet journal I started for all of 2025. In hindsight, so I did set that spread up for all 12 months, and I'll continue that for this year. But going forward next year, I think knowing now, I get about 6 months in a journal, depending on how I'm using it. I don't know. This is a new thing for me. I'm trying to figure out how many journals I'm going to need in the year. Because setting up these pages at the beginning is great, but I don't want to have to constantly pull this old journal out every time I want to add more stuff to it. And I've watched so many videos of other bullet journalers, the decorative bullet journaler group that we are, and seeing how they're doing their setups. And some of them use an entire bullet journal just for the big things, like capturing all of monthly highlights for an entire year, maybe in one journal that's separate from the journal that you use on a daily basis. And maybe that could also house your future log, and maybe that could also house, I don't know, the other lists and things that you might use for an entire year, rather than for the lifespan of that one particular book that you're using however long that might be. So I'm thinking about that for the future for 2026, and seeing maybe I have a journal dedicated just specifically for that kind of an idea, and seeing how that goes. But as of now, that's not how I've set it up for 2025. So yeah, future login here for sure. And then I'll have a few other pages that I will use for reference pages as I use this journal as well. So yeah, so I got all my calendars set up, and now I'm just doing the highlighter. This is supposed to be a glitter highlighter. There's no glitter, but the colors are really pretty. Very pale, like pastel colors of this. But yeah, so I decided this spread probably needed a little bit more decoration. And so I'm just picking out some smaller pieces of ephemera here that I can scatter throughout. So that's basically what I'm doing now, trying to find things that will look nice. So got a little peace sign there, which is fun. I mean, this is more me as a younger Tammy. I'm kind of tapping into my younger days with this whole theme, but I'm enjoying it at the same time. So, it's summer. You gotta bring out your inner child, I guess, a little bit. But adding some mushrooms down, just got a little cluster of mushrooms there. Not quite working great as far as placement, but that's how they ended up. So that's yep, they're stuck down now, so I can't move them, but decided to go ahead and add the hand peace sign. Is a little bit large, but that's all right. December, I don't foresee that I'll be in this journal in December, so I'm okay with sacrificing some of that space. So all right, moving on to the next. This is going to now require me to use that other stamp set, because I'm going to start doing my headers at this point. And this spread is actually going to be for my When Did I Last list. And so that's what I'm stamping out here. This is actually the first time I've ever used this stamp set. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the video. I got this stamp set from Hobby Lobby. If you were interested in getting it, it's in their everyday collection right now, I guess, until they decide to clearance it out and get something different. But I will say it was a little tricky to use, honestly. Lining the different word letters up with each other, depending on the previous or next letter that you had and the curly cues that it has. It was a little tricky. Yeah, and you can see that with the N in when. You kind of got to work with it a little bit. And most times I did pretty well. You'll see some of my headers are a little funky in places, and I didn't fix it all the time because, well, I might not have had as much of that color of paper left over as I wanted, or I was just fine with it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, so you just got to kind of embrace that. But this ended up being just slightly too long to fit on the one side, so I just decided to break it up like this, which then created a new challenge for me design-wise. Now I got this empty space that I have to fill in. So I thought, okay, let me go back to my background color papers and see what I can find that would work. I ended up with this grungy orange, and that with the kind of dusty pink header, it looks amazing on top of the pale yellow I mean, I was in love right now. I was sad though because I think I only had 2 or 3 of those tags to use, so I was being very careful about how much I was using it. Like, I'm not gonna waste an entire paper. Well, I guess I did. I used that entire paper for this background, but it makes an appearance throughout the rest of my setup in little bits and pieces. And every time I used it, I was like, ooh, this is the perfect color. So, yeah, sometimes you get lucky when you come across stuff like that. But I decided that that little camper was kind of perfect, and the aqua color of it was really nice too. So just kind of looking through to find smaller pieces that I can use to decorate the rest of this spread. On the right side, I'll have my savings tracker, which is actually going to take up quite a bit of the page. So I don't have a lot of extra room to work with. That's why I'm trying to find the smaller pieces. And then on the left, I'll finish that with kind of a little table. So I'll have a column for my date and then a column for whatever it was that I did. And so, yeah, so I ended up with that yellow flower, which I thought worked really well with the different colors that I had going on there. And now I'm trying to decide which pen I want to use to create my columns and then which pen I want to use to highlight the different rows. So I went with this golden yellow, I'm going to say, color. And I really love it. It worked really well with that flower that I chose. And so then I do still have some extra space there at the top, but I'm going to focus on highlighting for now. And I chose this pink one for the highlights, kind of tie back into the header color, background paper color. So really happy with how that turned out. And now going back to see what I could add. Yeah, that right side just seemed a little empty. And so I found this little flower and it kind of just tied it all in, kind of finished it off there. So that is one thing though about using these ephemera pieces. They do have a white outline, and I guess if I was using sticker on white paper, I would have the same thing to think about. I didn't find it to be an issue right now, but I have a feeling as I'm going through and using this journal, I'll be encountering that more often. Hello, Oliver. He's always curious and trying to see what I'm doing. But yeah, so thankfully it worked fine. It wasn't distracting at all on these pages, I think mostly because the yellow is so pale. And I don't know. I just didn't really notice it much, but I have a feeling, especially when I get to the purple pages, it could become, or in the craft pages, it could become more of an issue for me. So I might have to use maybe washi stickers or I don't know, something else. We'll see. It's going to be an adventure, guys. All right. So on the right side, I'm just setting up my savings tracker. This is one that I found on Pinterest, and I feel like the pin that I found was a pin from somebody else pinning. I don't know the original creator of this spread. If I did, I would definitely reference them, but it's a really cool tracker. So each box is a $50 increment, the little yellow boxes there. And so, yeah, I'm adding a highlighter to be the background. I knew I wanted to add highlighter to the top. I needed to figure out a way to incorporate that color throughout the rest of the page. And so that's why I drew borders around 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K, and 5K. And then added it at the bottom too. So I guess we're moving on to decorating again, and I wanted to use those sunglasses because they were the right size, honestly, for the rest of the room that I had on this page, and just trying to figure out how I want to showcase them. They had a bigger white background than I really preferred, but actually this little remaining piece from my header from the other page was kind of perfect. Even the flowers were kind of perfect. So I just went with that, and there we go. So, all right. And then I'll use this orange as background for my header for this page. So we'll go ahead and stamp savings now saving on this piece of paper here. And of course, I couldn't just put that down. I need to do a little collage. And so just picking out some scraps of what I had already used, looking for colors that would work well with what I've already done. Oliver being in the way and annoying as usual when I'm trying to work. He just likes to be right there with me, no matter what I'm doing. Just needs to be in the middle of it. Supervising, I guess, but decided to pull out some washi. I have some grid washi that's like a pale gray. This was also from Archer and Olive, I believe. I got it in the mystery bag sale earlier this year. I feel like, yes, I feel like that's true. And anyway, whatever. I got it, and it worked perfectly for these setups. So I'll be bringing it back here and there. And now is the hunt for the perfect thing to add to my little collage to end it and finish it out. I liked that smiley face. Considered using another one of those flowers, but I felt like that was a little too matchy. I loved the butterfly, but it was a little too big. And I couldn't really put words there because it's kind of like having two headers then at that point. So really just looking for something that'll work. And could do that, but I didn't have enough room. I knew I'd have to probably cut off some of whatever I used. And I do like that smiley face. So I decided to go with the smiley face, and he's going to have to get some of his head chopped off, but that's okay. It looks okay in the end. Yeah, really trying to get a flower on there as well. Kind of bookending the spread, I suppose, in the two yellow flowers is what I'm thinking. Yeah, I really like the pink one better, so went with that one, but we'll get the flower put down first and then the happy face, and then that should be it for this page. So all I got to do now is cut it off and hopefully not cut off his eyes and that'll be it. Nope, I'm wrong. I forgot. I still have to fill in the rest of that. So adding $50, $100, $150, so on and so forth, up until $1,000 for the rest of my tracker. So, all right. So next spread is going to be journal ideas. In my first bullet journal, I did one page as junk journal ideas, and then the next page as bullet journal ideas. I felt like this time I don't know that I'll have as many ideas to jot down. And so I just decided to go with journal ideas. It'll give me more space to decorate on. Truthfully, I just wanted to do more decorating. And so I'll just fill it in. The rest of the page is going to be blank space for me to write. So really it is all about the decorating on this one and adding the header. So I wanted to incorporate another one of these little sayings, and I thought this one was good because I had already put down that lined paper, and I needed something a little bit taller. So All You Need Is Love was going to work perfectly. And then that happy face kind of finished out that side of the page. Definitely wanted to use some of this polka dot paper. It's so cute. So introducing that now. And also definitely wanted to use, I'm going to have to get my punch out because I did not do a great job on these edges, the corners very well. So I'm going to have to do those better with an actual punch, which actually is downstairs in my craft studio. But yeah. So anyway, I also definitely wanted to get one of those rainbows in one of these spreads. So kind of ticking all those boxes here. And now I'm like, oh, well, I need room for my header. What am I going to do for that? I don't have too much to put. I mean, it's just going to be journal ideas. So it doesn't need to have too much room. But I thought, well, let's go ahead and use some more of that orange. I loved it so much the last time. And we can make it more of a vertical header that way. And so intended to do that. But I think I messed up on my stamping and it ended up being a little bit different. I ended up having, I didn't mess it up. I just realized journal was going to be too long to fit that way. So went with this approach instead. And yeah, you can see ideas. It's a little wonky and I ran out of room to add the L for journal. So just had to find another piece, do a little bit of surgery, and hopefully nobody notices. I mean, it all blends in at the end. Honestly, as I'm flipping through it, I don't even notice it now. And I'm the one that did it. So there you go. But got our header done and that'll fit in there really nicely. And just gonna, need to tear off just a little bit off the bottom. I didn't know how much extra spacing I would need. I knew I'd have to overlap them, but wanted to see it on the page before I actually started tearing. And yeah, I don't know why I'm going back through. Maybe I decided I didn't love that happy face. But I didn't really see anything else that was perfect. I wanted to add more color and scrap papers to the background of this. That's kind of where I was going. And yeah, to get more of that orange on the page. So gotta cover the typewriter without covering too much. I wish I wouldn't have glued down that little piece of orange because I did need to move things just a little bit, and I didn't really want to just cover it completely, even though I'm basically doing that now. Yep, struggling with that, but it is what it is. It's stuck down now, so gonna just work with it and finish out this collage. And this is actually gonna be the last spread for my bullet journal setup. Next video will be my July setup in this journal. And so I hope you all come back and watch that. And until then, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, and I will see you soon. Bye.